It's time for Cats Talk Wednesday. Small town and big city join forces. Vinny Hardy of Lynch, Kentucky, and Terry Brown of Louisville, Kentucky, team up to give you free-flowing, laid-back sports talk. Focus on Kentucky Wildcats, as well as pertinent information in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball.
It's that time again. Cats Talk Wednesday. Terry Brown, Vinny Hardy, PS3 Network, PS3Network.com. All kind of stuff has happened since we were on here last. And
Yeah.
we were looking into the lead up, and now it's come and gone. And now we got the fallout from all the stuff we were looking forward to. And Cats in a rough patch. The Arkansas game is come and gone. Your Lakers are in the news.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl just keeps getting pushed down the list with all this stuff happening, man.
It feels like this Super Bowl is almost an afterthought. I mean, it's a repeat of Super Bowl from a couple years ago. It feels like there's Chiefs fatigue. It feels like there's Eagles fatigue. There's no juice. It reminds me of that New England Rams Super Bowl a few years ago. I honestly forget that one ever happened because wasn't it like 10-3 at one point? Like it was just but it just had no juice leading up to it.
I've never seen a Super Bowl like that. Like either a blowout or close, but just a game with no pulse. I had never seen that.
Yeah. Ever. And so this, we'll probably get a good game. And a lot of people were saying that last year, that the game had no buzz or whatever. I was not amongst those because my team was participating. So I was excited, boring or not, let's get the dub. And we didn't, but it turned out to be a pretty good game. The longest Super Bowl, going into overtime, and Patrick Mahomes scoring a touchdown with 10 seconds left in the game. But this one I don't know what it is. It just doesn't feel like it's got the juice to me. But that's me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it'll be Sunday at 6:30 before we know it, and then it might smack us with all the juice that we didn't see this week.
We might get something. Barkley might go off. Mahomes might do something, and so we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that I think the Chiefs will do it. If I had to bet, I don't hope for them to win, but I think they will. But we'll get to that at some point.
Yeah, I can't. Well, they didn't snatch 2 Super Bowls from my team, so I would feel differently about them if that happened. I would hate them too if they beat the Cowboys for 2 and put daggers through, the way they did. I'd probably have some Chiefs fatigue, but since my team hasn't been to the Super Bowl to get daggered, I want to see history. I want to see a three-peat. So if they can do it, that'd be cool. It's never been done before, so I hope they can. Made it this far. Hope they can finish it off. And plus, they're playing the Eagles, so that where I'm gonna lie.
Yeah.
Would lie.
I got you because there's no hate like NFC East hate or NL Central hate. Like there's just everybody hates everybody.
Yeah, you just got to. You gotta have your guard up. You gotta be, just that, little edge because they got that edge that Washington hates us, we hate them. They hate Philly, vice versa. New York. It's all mutual and it's all equal, and everybody throws shade and throws hate accordingly. That's just how it is. We're not even in the Northeast, but we,
The fact that Dallas and the Cardinals at one point were in the NFC East should be a thing. And that's my thing is the NFC West, I don't really consider any of those teams really rivals, if I'm being honest with you. Like I don't really think of the Seahawks in that way or the Rams in that way or the Cardinals in that way. But I don't like them, but it's not like when we play Dallas.
Right.
I just like beating those teams because they're teams in your division. You're trying to win your division, but I don't have any. To be honest with you, outside of the Cowboys, there's not like I don't know who's supposed to be the Niners rivals because I don't even operate in that space. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out because I know people in San Francisco, people out west, they interact with those fans. They have more, but I don't have any problem with any of those teams.
Yeah. And I got enough space for you and all those that the NFC East alone, and then Dad was a Cowboys fan, so that's the protein that we share. So I hate the Steelers just because he did, and then you see the Lynn Swan clips, and they daggered the Cowboys for 2 Super Bowls, both of them about 4-point games. So I just grew up hating Pittsburgh for that. You show the clips. They used to show the Bart Starr Ice Bowl where he put the quarterback sneak. That was almost like the Leitner shot. I had to beat the practice because of that.
Yeah. That was one of those plays that was the opening. But as we get close to Super Bowl 60, it's kind of fading back. But no, it was a good rip for about 30 years.
And then the catch goes without saying. I hate y'all for that. I wasn't watching, but I know my dad had to be highly upset because he'd have been we were like 3 or 4. So that's 81.
Yeah, 81. Mm-hmm.
So our dad's grown and finished working that week and watching the Cowboys, and then they get daggered by Joe Montana. So I inherited some of that hate plus the NFC East. So it's just a bunch of spaces where I just always hating these other franchises, man.
I got you.
Petty hate. It is.
Yeah.
Like you got the Celtics with your Lakers, which we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We got Kevin McGuffey from LEX 18 coming on. We'll talk about the cats in the rough patch with him. But your Lakers Celtics is as old as time. The history of the league. You can't tell the history of the league without. I mean, they are all interwoven. Mike and Cousy. the 80s, Bill Russell, Wilt. I mean, so y'all like the foundation of the league. So
that one's good old fat. I loved it. A couple weeks ago they played, and they actually played in the regular uniforms. Celtics were in their regular green. Lakers are in their home gold. Anytime those teams play, give me the regular ones. Just don't give me any of this new. I don't want all that. I just give me the regular, right? When the Niners and Cowboys play, I just want the regular star on the helmet.
Yeah.
I don't want any of that new age. That's my old man rant. And I'm a jersey guy, right? But I those just need to be regular.
Just keep the throwback. And the Lakers, y'all roughed them up that night too pretty good, didn't you?
Yeah, man, that's the crazy thing is the Stephen A. Smiths and inside the NBA and all that. I get it. You talk about the Lakers. I get it. It's like when they talk about the Cowboys. But I'm like, the Lakers are the 5 seed right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're 10 games above 500, better than they've been at this point since the championship season of 2020, right?
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And so everybody's got to get these jokes off, but I'm like, the Lakers are doing pretty good.
Nope.
And I know, the elephant in the room, I've got my Anthony Davis. Let me get this in view. My Anthony Davis shirt here. Like I was telling you before we came on, to me, Anthony Davis is goated. Like he brought championships to my alma mater and my favorite basketball team, professional team. I'm rolling with that dude, to be honest with you. So I did not want to see him go. And it kind of irks me that people are like, oh, the Mavs gave up Luka for nothing. I'm like, okay, maybe Anthony Davis isn't the best player in the NBA, but there's a lot of room between the best and nothing. Yeah. And he's closer to the best than nothing. Like, come on. But I understand. It's a business, but it caught me off guard. I was still smarting after the Arkansas game and was trying to come down. I'm checking people being ridiculous on Twitter. And the first couple of tweets I saw were people just like, Shams got hacked.
Yeah.
right? Like somebody check on Shams, he got hacked. And then I finally saw the actual ESPN account put it out there, and then somebody put the Shams, no, I've not been hacked. This is true. That's just a crazy situation. So a lot of people, is this the best trade in Lakers history? That remains to be seen. But when you look at the trade that brought Wilt to LA and brought Kareem to LA,
Yeah,
those are the two. And if you want to, put Kobe in there as well, with his draft rights getting traded for Vlade, okay. So, but Luka's got his work cut out for him, right? You want to be a big dog at a big franchise, right? Like I have told you, and I know Kevin's here. Let me get this out, but I repeat, the Lakers are going to have 2 of the top 10 players, and then we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. So, yeah.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that more. But bring. Oh, did Kevin?
I think he dropped off. I'm gonna get him as soon as he pops back in. We'll get him back.
Okay.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, and he even texted me. We talked about him if he was good coming on. Since Saturday night went the way it did for Kentucky, he was like, "Yeah, we can just talk about the NBA, but yeah, we gotta dive into it." So we'll bring our guest on, friend of the show, been on more times than we can count.
Oh yeah.
He is at WLEX in Lexington, a master control supervisor. He does a lot of college football writing for Last Word on College Football. Always got a lot of Kentucky articles before the season, during the season, after the season. So we're not really looking at it yet because we're kind of, I think, all consumed by Pope. But spring practice will be here before we know it. So I know Kevin will have some thoughts on all the new additions with Stoops and the football team. So let's bring him right on in right now. Kevin McGuffey, friend of the show. Kev, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Trying to see. I look a little out of focus or something, but it's okay. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on again, as always. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a few times, but it's always great to be on and talk with you guys. And we have a therapy session. I don't know what you want to call it, but we'll just see what we get into here over the next little bit.
Well, let's start there.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. The elephant in the room, we're Kentucky fans, and Kentucky men's basketball kind of drives the bus on this stuff. Where are you with this downturn of the team? Not playing well, players injured, kind of where are you right now, state of the program?
Well, I think anybody that knows me knows I'm generally one of the most positive people that there is when it comes to UK sports. I mean, if we were doing this 2 weeks ago, we'd probably have an entirely different conversation. Personally, I blame Texas A&M for everything. Somebody had mentioned this, and I was like, it seems true. It's like we won the battle against Texas A&M that night, but I think we lost the war because that's where Butler got hurt, and we haven't been the same since. I think you take your top 2 point guards away from anybody in college basketball, and you're probably, they're going to be struggling, kind of like Kentucky is right now. And I don't know. I wish, I wish I had an answer, the magic crystal ball or something. But I'm all in on Coach Pope. I think it was the whole thing with Coach Cal. I think, obviously he did amazing things while he was here, but I think it was time for a change. And like I said, up until 2 weeks ago, everything was wonderful. But losing 4 out of 5 will obviously change your outlook on life. But no, I'm not a gloom and doomer. I think they just need to get back. South, they're playing one of the worst teams in the SEC on Saturday. They just need to get that win and then focus. They've got Tennessee again. Get those 2. If they can get both those 2 wins at home, and then all of a sudden, hey, things aren't so bad. But to your original thought, I mean, I'm still in on Pope, and it just is. It's hard to to win when you're missing two of your top, point guards. I think I saw some, it was on Twitter. I still call it Twitter. That you guys may have seen this too. I think somebody had posted that since like the 2020 season, Kentucky has been missing their starting point guard for like 45 games or something, like some ridiculous stat over the last 5 years. And it's just crazy because you think about with with Coach Cal's offense, how important the point guard was. And I think the same with Pope, but like I said, you got to play with who's out there. And the one thing I will say that did, and you guys may have talked about this before I got on here, but the seeming, lack of effort on defense, closing out on people. That was probably the most frustrating thing from last night. And then other than once again, a UK opponent just shoots the lights out, which seems to happen apparently no matter who the coach is.
Well, for me, it is that defense, right? That sense of urgency. My only knock on Pope, and I'm still on the Pope bandwagon, right? Mm-hmm. You know me, I'm pumping the sunshine. But these slow starts, we've got to figure that out,
right?
Because a lot of those losses, we kind of lost in the first half, right? And we're playing catch up for the next 30 minutes, and then you don't leave yourself a very big margin of error in the second half. I thought they played the second half really, really well.
They did.
Right? I thought the last 20 minutes were fantastic. But when you're digging out of that 20-point hole and you're not turning the other team over, it's really a tough road to hoe, right?
No,
it just really is. They're going deep into the shot clock. They're hitting some crappy shots or whatever. And then you run out of time, to quote Bill Self. You just run out of time with that thing.
That's a very good point. And that's kind of been a theme. And even in some of the wins, like almost all these losses, they've gotten down 8-10 points 10 minutes into the game. And as you said, you're playing catch up the rest of the way. And it's really, really hard to do, especially when you're down, especially when you're down players like they are. So that's another big thing. Like try to figure out a way. Okay, how do we come out gangbusters? The start of the game.
Well, and with people being out, you're asking other players to fill in roles that they're not exactly comfortable. Like I'm not going to jump on Jackson Robinson because now he has to run the offense,
right?
And that's not his skill set, right?
Right.
Not only that, but he's running the offense, so you're taking away a little bit of his shooting and things like that. So everybody's doing things differently. That's that domino effect when you're missing 2 point guards.
Mm-hmm. You make a very good point because, like you said, the Butler or even Creesa, who knows if he's going to come back. They work their offense and get Robinson those shots, and now he's having to kind of do it on his own. As you said, that's a big thing too.
Absolutely. But just I guess the effort, like you said, the being so flat. I think Kevin, we talked before. We talked NBA. I think you were a Warriors fan or still are. We talked about that, and right off the bat, and look. The young man had a triple-double last night. Amari had a triple-double, the fourth one in the history of Kentucky Wildcats basketball. Yeah, that's how it's free.
Nice.
But at the very beginning of the game, Mark Jackson used to coach those Warriors. He famously would say hand down, man down when he became a broadcaster. Amari Williams came down there hands down and just watched the dude put 2 threes dead in his eye. And I'm like, just come out there with a hand up. At least he's had to shoot over it. Maybe he doesn't even shoot it because we got this 7-foot wingspan. So, it's to y'all's point already. They dug a huge hole, and it was 5-0. I think I went to the kitchen and came back. It was 5-0. I was like, oh my God! I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And so then the crowd was into it, and then it was just a vicious cycle, and Kentucky was in a huge hole before they could even get a sweat. Didn't even have a sweat worked up, and it was already whoa.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, it keeps And part of like Tuesday night could have been a hangover from the Arkansas game because that was so. I mean, we were talking about. I think yesterday was I think the anniversary of the Florida game, in 2003, where Florida came in as number one, and I was lucky enough to be at that game. Me and my wife, and that was the best. For my money anyway, that was the best atmosphere for a UK game I'd ever seen. And then probably Saturday, I'm sure. I mean, obviously I wasn't there, but I'm sure Saturday topped it. And then just the whole thing, the way they played, the way Arkansas, there could have been a little bit of hangover from that too. So that could have been part of the slow start. But as you all said, that's something Coach Pope, they just got to figure, and the staff, they got to figure out, okay, how do we let's get up 10-0 on somebody instead of being down 10-0. And then you did mention quick segue. You mentioned Golden State. I was all excited that was going to get some good news from what's been kind of a cruddy sports ball week, and that KD was going back to the Warriors, and now they're like, nope, it's like he has no interest and none of that. And I'm like, well, okay.
Pull the rug out from under you again, Kevin.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I was kind of reading some stuff online. I don't know. Everybody's going to speculate, but that would have been nice to see him run it back one more time. Of course, Clay's not there anymore, but then I think they're going to have to break up the entire team just to do it. So I don't know if it's I don't know if it's worth it or not. But I mean, they need something. They miss Jerry West as the biggest thing. No offense to Mike Dunleavy, but he's no Jerry West. But then again, who is, right? We'll leave it at that. I know. I got to say, you guys probably talked about it. Terry AD to Dallas, Luka. Yeah, I know you got the shirt on, but
I got my AD shirt on because I was like, oh man. Look, I love AD. Like we were talking about this earlier, Kevin. Like he won my alma mater a championship. Mm-hmm. He won my Lakers a championship. All right, you're good to go, Anthony Davis. You won my country a gold medal. Right. Awesome, good for you. But if you can get a Luka, get a Luka, because you're going to need somebody to pick up when LeBron leaves. Right. And my whole thing is with the Lakers, they don't do rebuilding. Mm-hmm. Like since they've moved to LA, I'm trying to remember this, Vinny. They've only had 2 seasons, where they did not have an NBA Hall of Famer on the roster.
Yeah,
and it was 95 was the first year when Worthy finally retired and before Shaq signed. And then there's that gap between Kobe and LeBron. So it may be 3 years.
Right.
Okay.
But other than that, however good or bad they've been, we've got this draw, which you have to have in LA, right? Because they tried that with the young kids, with the Nick Van Exels and Cedric Ceballos and Eddie Jones. Really, really good, really, really fun team. But no one's going to the Forum to watch those guys play. Like, that's not going to get it done. Jack Nicholson is not going to be on the sideline. Like, you have to have Kobe. You have to have LeBron. You have to have Magic. And I think Luka sets up to be that moving forward. I would have thought AD would have done it, but if you can get a Luka, get a Luka.
So what about all the, I mean, we'll probably never know, but all these reasons behind the scenes that would make Dallas pull the trigger on a 25-year-old top 3, top 5 dude in the league, just went to the finals. You hear all this conditioning. You hear he doesn't play defense. You see his act kind of being a brat to the refs and the body language. But what, and I mean, I know the Supermax, but what really made Nico call Pelinka? That's what everybody really wants to know. What in the world would make them just say, we're going to cut bait with you.
Right.
And and I'm just going to call Pelinka and see.
Unless they know something that we don't. Like, unless they know that, and I'm talking out of turn, but like, unless he's got like a heart condition or something. Otherwise, I don't know why you make that move, because you're going to have to spend money anyway.
Right.
And if you don't want to pay that Supermax, well, fine. Like, you're going to have to pay somebody because you're not going to do anything if you don't have a supermax type player on your team.
Mm-hmm.
But that dude, that Nico, did you see what he was? He worked at Nike before this. This is for you, Kevin. You see that? Like, he's the dude that bungled the Steph Curry deal.
Right. Yep.
So,
that's right. That's right. And then Curry ended up with Under Armour. That's right. Yeah. I knew that name sounded familiar, and I couldn't remember what it was from, but that's it. Yeah.
He kept saying Seth Curry, and then basically used the same PowerPoint that they used on Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
So all I know is I know two things about Nico, and buddy, neither one of those are good. like you fumbled the bag with Steph, and you shipped Luka out. Mm-hmm. So I don't hope something is wrong, but that's the way it feels like to me. I don't know about you, Kevin.
Right. I mean, I didn't realize. I'm sure I knew this. I thought Luka was older than 25, but because it seems like he's been in the league forever.
That's it. That's it.
But and then yeah, like I said, just sitting there watching it. I mean, I saw it, I guess, pop up Saturday, like late Saturday night, and I thought it's like, oh, okay, this is some fake news. I hate to use that term, but and then it's like, oh crap, this is real. It's like, dang, and then it just took a minute, and then because like I said, it's interesting. I think it's kind of maybe create a ripple effect around the league, and it's like, hey, if they'll get rid of Doncic just like that, who knows what else is going to happen now? Just somebody got to find somebody to take Jimmy Butler. But anyway, so
but you see how those dudes got back to playing. Embiid came back, like
right,
hey,
exactly.
You might get shipped out, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all these guys that have been on the minutes restrictions and and what is it, load management, which is like the dumbest term I've ever heard in my life. All of a sudden, as you said, Embiid. I'm waiting for Paul George to come back because he hurt his finger or something. Yeah, hey, put us out there. We can we at least try to play some defense. Maybe I might not get a shot off anybody, but I played 2 years of basketball many years ago in high school, and then realized I was going to be better off playing football and baseball. But and then my claim to fame, we almost went to the state tournament, but Reggie Hansen in Pulaski County beat us in the region finals. And that was the year. I'm really dating myself here, but that was the year that they went on and won the state the state championship, which was like 86, 87, something like that. So as I said, I'm dating myself, but hey, I'm old. Everybody knows I'm old. It's fine. But
be old with us. We old too.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I said, the NBA is interesting. And then of course the WLEX our NBC is our parent company, and of course. The NBA is coming back to NBC next year, so along with the WNBA too. So I'm very, as an NBA fan, I'm like, hey, I get to watch our channel and watch some NBA. I think they're going to try to do like a Sunday night game, try to make like they've done with Sunday Night Football. Kind of have like a marquee matchup on Sunday nights, and then maybe like another game during the week or something. But we still got another year for that. But I know I've already seen promos for February of next year. Like NBC has the NBA All-Star Game, the Super Bowl, and the Winter Olympics. So that'll be that'd be a pretty exciting month for us. So hopefully lots of revenue, but that's another story for another time. But yeah, like I said, I the thing with AD, and then De'Aaron Fox. I never thought De'Aaron Fox would be out of Sacramento, but now he's in San Antonio, and I saw before I got on with you guys, I had ESPN on. I was doing a couple things, and there he was walking in. His first game with the Spurs is tonight. So we'll see we'll see how that goes. He and Wemby, that's pretty good. That's pretty good 1-2 combination, I have to say. So now
that's good.
My De'Aaron Fox Sacramento T-shirt jersey, I guess now is a collector's item. So
you can join me, because it happens. But look, it's the Kings. When I first saw it, I'm like, it's the Kings. Like they had that one bright run with Chris Webber and those guys, but other than that, they're the Kings. If we can be,
Yeah.
if we could be like that was as good as it's going to get, right?
Yeah.
Same way with the Clippers. This is as good as it's ever been for them. So I know I'm always shooting strays at the Clippers.
Yeah. Take a little second to.
That's okay. I mean, they were pretty. I thought a couple years ago they were right. Excuse me, right to get about to get over that hump and maybe do something in the playoffs, but it just never happened. So I don't know, but like I went through a phase where I have about a dozen probably UK player like T-shirt. Like I never buy the jerseys, but I get like the T-shirt jerseys, and I've got like I don't know, I think at least 2 John Walls. I think I've got like 3 DeMarcus Cousins. I've got I wish I could find that picture. I like laid them all out on my bed one day, like our bed at the house, and like tried to take a picture of them. But anyway, I haven't bought any in a while, but we'll get there again maybe. But like I said, it's it's kind of cool with all the UK guys, UK guys in the NBA, and it was good to see Shepard have a pretty good game last night. I watched the game 2 nights ago, and he played like 10 minutes and shot 5 shots, missed all of them, and then it's like, okay, back to the bench. So, but I don't know. We'll be allowed to talk about Reed. Everybody's still mad at him for Saturday.
Well, what's your 2 cents on that? Because we saw the former players chiming in, and now it's just a lot of back and forth, and you aren't that good when you were here. Like, I don't know. It felt unseemly to me.
I mean, if I wasn't a fan, we'll put it that way, because, I mean, if you wanted to wear something like with Coach Cal's picture on it or something, because like you had no what's the word I'm looking for? Like no ties to exactly. No ties to Arkansas. That just, and he was like, oh, I was just trying to be funny. Like, you kind of missed the mark on that one, because the BBN was already mad anyway, and that just made it worse. And then the whole thing with the former players from like and it was just like the guys from the last few years. It wasn't, you didn't see like the older, or maybe I missed some somewhere, but that whole thing was just bizarre too.
My 2 cents on that is the guys that you're talking about, Ty, I saw Jacob Toppin, Mintz. I think I'm missing somebody prominently. Yeah. But I think those guys don't have that connection to the fan base as the other one and dones. Number one, because the teams weren't that good, relatively speaking, right? I think if the teams are good, you're going to the Final Four, it's a better situation. Right. They caught hell because the teams weren't good.
Right.
So they're probably prickly to the fans because they didn't get that love like some of the other teams did.
Right.
That's just my 2 cents.
I think for me, and maybe I shouldn't be this way, but I was kind of numb to the whole thing, because if we think back to when, and this will get, remember how riled up everybody was, and probably rightfully so, because it was such a bad loss when Evansville comes in Lexington and wins. Walter McCarty is the coach. Right. Now, a lot of those 96 guys were over there pulling for Walter, because that's their teammate coming in and beating Kentucky. And I was like, oh, they pulling for Evansville. So, you play with somebody, a coach, a player, that relationship, that kind of supersedes even the loyalty to Kentucky in a lot of these instances. I heard y'all talking about on Round of Shots. That's your coach. Cal was the coach, so maybe you don't have to wear Arkansas garb,
right?
Whatever.
That was too far.
Yeah,
Reed being cheeky, like, you were born and raised here. You know how these people operate. I chastise Kentucky fans a lot, but you know how they are. And if you put that Arkansas shirt on, it ain't about laughing and joking and everything like that. But when you think about when Patino went to Louisville and he's doing all that stuff, and the fan base was out to get him, his players kept it real.
Yeah.
Like they still rock with Coach P. They were not on the same emotional spectrum that we were.
And who were some of the guys? Was it some of those guys were on staff? Was it McCarty? Who was?
Yeah,
several 96 guys were.
Turner was on there for a little bit.
Wayne,
right?
I'd say Wayne Turner. I think,
Louisville, even though they went and bled and laid all on the line for Kentucky, and Reed, his Arkansas thing too far, yes, and he put it on a tee for Arkansas's Twitter to say Hogs on top after they come in and win the game. So that was well played, Arkansas. That was well done. But Reed set it up. Reed threw the alley, and that was the oop. Right. But I think me seeing Cameron Mills and DA and Tony Delk and everybody pulling for McCarty, that kind of maybe numb me to the fact, this is just how they roll. Even though Reed, pushed it a little too far. But Mintz and all them, they riding with Cal. That's par for the course most of the time. People gonna ride with the coach, even when it's when he's beating the alma mater. It's just
Yeah, I mean, and I think y'all make great points. I'd kind of forgotten about the whole. I think maybe I tried to block out that Evansville game.
Yeah.
But I forgot what. I don't know. It was just like you said. It's just a whole really weird thing. And then like the whole thing now where everybody pretty much hated Patino for 20 years, and now all of a sudden everybody loves him, and or almost maybe not everybody, but he's that whole thing. It's just been like the weirdest thing ever. But I also think I think Terry's point, like I think some people, I think we definitely saw like the worst of Kentucky's fan base. Especially after that game. I mean, we're all mad about the game, but like I said, it was just a bad game, bad day all the way around. And just like I said, he thought he was trying to be funny, but I was like, that's sometimes comedians have jokes that don't work, and and that one did not work. So
should have workshopped that one a little bit more. Should have kept that one in the chamber.
Yeah.
But with all the stuff with Cal and Patino back in the fold, Kentucky fans, and this is my, getting back to like what Seth Greenberg was talking about. It's just weird, right? Like to have your championship coaches come back coaching for somebody. Like nobody else has had to do that, right? Like Duke fans haven't had to have Coach K come back coaching North Carolina or North Carolina State. And so, again, I give our fans a little bit of credit here. Like it's just weird all around. Like Rick's back and Cal's at Arkansas. There's just a lot going on that not a lot of fan bases have to put up with, for lack of better phrasing.
Yeah, and you don't see, like to your point, some of the guys like for North Carolina, you don't see, Roy, of course, Roy Williams is at Kansas and he went to North Carolina, but you don't see, like you said, guys that went to these other places. You said you don't see Krzyzewski or, some of his, former coaches or, players. I mean, he's had a lot of coaches who become, or former players who become coaches, but it just never seems to be a situation like this. And maybe because it's Kentucky, I don't know, but it's just, we just magnify everything by like 10,000 times.
A little bit.
But yeah, but I mean, I've been the Seth Greenberg thing, by the way, since you brought that up, that whole thing was just bizarre. It's like, he just, I understand defending Cal and everything, but he just kept doubling and tripling down. And then, and of course, and once Arkansas won the other night, it just made it, just made it 1,000 times worse. But like I said, last week was just a weird week.
Yeah.
in general. So
every day there's something new. Every day.
Right. Sorry, my seats. Cushion came off my seat. Not that anybody need to know that, but everybody, the Cats Talk wins the universe. There you go.
We're live.
That's right. We're live, pal. Anyway.
So y'all talked about Rupp, and Kevin, you talked about the Florida game and atmosphere and how Saturday probably topped it. So your thoughts on leading up to it, because it was so much debate. Should you boo? Should you not? Where did you come out on it if you had been there? And then we can get into the 40 minutes that transpired after all the buildup.
Okay, so I'm, as we just talked about 5 minutes ago, I'm old. this is what I would, and in this day and age, it's impossible to do. I just, I would have ignored him. I would have ignored him. I would have, back in the old days, y'all may remember this. You see people in stands would have these things called newspapers. A lot of people may not. You'd sit there like they'd read off. They go through the opposing team, and the students and people would sit there with newspapers and just not say a word. It's like, we don't care about you. That's, to me, like the whole boo cheer thing. I mean, if I had been there, honestly, I would have clapped and been like, yay, yay, you did a lot of good stuff here, but now I hope we win by 50, but then the whole thing with booing the players every time they touch the ball, that all that did was obviously, as you saw, just ticked them off. It made them play harder and play kind of out of their minds. And, but if it had been me, I would just, sit on my hands, because no offense to Coach Cal, but he was wanting that attention, craving that attention. He was wanting to get booed, I think. And we kind of just played right into, I think we just kind of played right into their hands, so to speak. That's just my opinion. But, like I said, if I'd been at the game, I would have been like, yay, golf clap or something. And then like, okay, I hope you lose by 50.
I think I would have been similar. Kind of what I said last week. I would have probably, I wouldn't have booed, probably wouldn't have clapped, would have just kind of just played it down the middle. And you would have had a wide range of everything, which is what happened Saturday. You had the boos, you had the cheers, you had people probably not saying a word. So yeah, the gamut was ran.
Well,
yeah.
And like Kevin said, we played into his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Cal is at its best when it's us versus them, us versus the world, right? And he told those guys, I saw that clip, like, hey, this is their biggest game of the year. That's what he told his Arkansas players, and they played like it, and Cal had points to prove. I got a little bit of pushback because I'm like, that man has a lot of pride, right? And he has seen how we have kind of adored Pope, right? And made it seem like Pope's having to bring the program out of the gutter. Cal's a prideful man, and he has seen all that. The 20,000 people at the introductory press conference, all the fawning coverage of Pope, which deserve it, right? But all this, Pope gets it. He understands us. And Cal's like, hey, there's 16 banners up there.
Mm-hmm.
I put 4 of them up.
Right.
Like, what are we doing? And it was a very proudful performance. I mean, I wasn't saying, yay, Arkansas won. I'm like, hey, Cal had a point to prove with this one. Now, they may not win another game, but he got that one.
Yeah.
Right.
And he wanted it bad. You ain't seen him on the sideline pumping his fist.
Yeah.
And who knows when. But every time they made a critical play, a play that needed to be made to kind of keep Kentucky at bay, they got an and one when they needed it. And Cal's over there giving it both. I said, man, look at there.
And I yelled at the TV, stop booing DJ. Because once he started, like, getting to the rim, I'm like, y'all got to stop booing him at this point. Because all that's doing is just feeding what he wants to do. Mm-hmm. So the 3 former players, I think they combined for like 51, 52 points.
Mm-hmm.
They had points to prove too.
Right.
Because they know all that stuff. Like, we're like, good riddance, go down to Fayetteville with Cal. They're like, okay, cool. They had points to prove.
Right.
Which is what I love about basketball. You can do that. Like, oh, I'm getting booed. Okay, cool. And then go do your stuff.
Right. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Like I said, the arrow, and that's one guy I wish was still here. And then of course, Big Z. As you said, all 3 of those guys played out of their minds. And like I said, I think we all kind of, the BBN just kind of had a big hand in it. But I would like to see them. I'd like to play them again in the SEC tournament, and especially if we have everybody healthy. So
yes,
at least Butler. Like I said, we have no idea if Creasa what's gonna happen with him. But yeah, I would like to have a healthy Lamont Butler going up against Arkansas in a rematch, and then we'll see. Then we'll see what happens. But yeah, it was just. But like I said, if it had been me, I've just been like one of my favorite words has become meh. That's basically what I've just been like meh, whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that rematch might happen in the tournament for sure. and hopefully Kentucky could avenge it just like they did, Indiana in 2012 and
Right.
all of that. But what is it head and shoulders pert? You never get a first chance, a second chance to make a first impression.
Right.
You're never gonna get Cal's first return game to Rupp as the opposing coach.
Right.
Rick Pitino came in with Louisville, and Tebby was like, "Nope, it ain't happening for you."
Mm-hmm.
Cal came back and he got over. He was able to get us. So if you get him in March in Nashville, great. Now we're even.
Right.
But you're never gonna take away the fact that hey, I came back and I put it on them. Me and Adu and Z and DJ, shut up, all of Rupp, and that's the part that sucks about it. You just can't.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the thing about it is, of course, a lot of it comes. You mentioned the Indiana game. What are we? 14 years later now, almost, and people still just talk about the Christian Watford shot. Nobody talks about the fact that. That Kentucky beat Indiana, and honestly, one of the best tournament games you ever want to see. In 2012, I think it was a regional. I think it's a regional semifinal, Sweet 16, maybe.
Yeah, Sweet 16. Then it was Indiana, and then Baylor.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, no one, as you said, to your point, no one remembers that Kentucky won the rematch. Everybody remembers the Christian Watford shot and the popcorn boxes and all of that stuff.
And that's win or go home. It's all on the line. It's March Madness, but everybody's still talking about that game in December or whenever it was. Yeah, it's crazy how that works out. So that's 15 years from now, Arkansas fans will be down there.
Mm-hmm.
Cal, Tyson chicken.
I was kind of surprised. One thing, there's a guy that I know real well in Arkansas. He used to have a radio show. I used to do a bunch of stuff for him. I was really surprised that I did not hear from him on Saturday. Now, granted, I didn't go out of my way to text him either and say, but I was surprised that his name was Pat Jenkins, and I was like, I was just waiting for that, waiting for that message, haha, and I'm like, but I never got it. So,
for the most part, all the ones I saw, talking or saying anything from the Arkansas end, most of them had no confidence at all that they were going to come in and win.
Right.
Based on the way they had played up to this point. They losing at home to, Oklahoma and all these teams coming in. They come to Knoxville and they barely scored 50 against Tennessee. They can't even score 65, 70 points and then come in here and hang 90 on us, which is, again, those defensive issues that we
I was going to say, it goes right back to what we were talking about at the beginning. Those, the defensive lapses and our inability to seem to close out on 3-point shooters, but then to the point, Arkansas got off early to a lead, but then that 5-6 minutes there before the 10-minute timeout or whatever was about as good as I've seen Kentucky play in a long time. And then whether I kind of question some of the substitution patterns. I don't think, we had some guys who were really hot, and then we, Pope brought in some other guys, and then we just couldn't get back, couldn't get that momentum back. It didn't seem like basically for the rest of the game. So, but
in the pressure factor, because you're trailing and they just keep rolling. They just keep hitting. Big Z looked like he did the first game he ever played in Rupp against Georgia when he became eligible. Just and it was just an avalanche for them.
Right. Yeah, I was just sneaking to look. I couldn't remember. I think it's 8:00 game. Arkansas plays Texas tonight, so keep an eye. I'm sure it's on TV somewhere. Keep an eye on that one. See, they'll probably score 50 points.
We're not going to see that. We're not going to see what they did again.
No, probably not. But anyway, so.
And y'all mentioned South Carolina too. I think Kevin, you talked about get South Carolina at home, get Tennessee at home, kind of get back on track, and I try to be objective, try to be realist, try to be optimistic. Don't try to play it down the middle, but South Carolina has been blown out in some games.
Right.
We got a history where we've been struggling to beat them in any sport. Football, basketball, everything. Last year is a prime example. So you get them at home this year,
Right.
as you mentioned, one of the worst teams in the SEC. I think the worst. They haven't won a game yet.
Right.
But they gave Auburn all they wanted. They'll rise up and play some teams tough. They probably ought to have a couple wins in the SEC, but it just has some bad breaks. They had Florida beat. They led for like 39 minutes and 58 seconds and found a way to lose that one.
Right.
So we better go to play Saturday because you can't just say, 0-8 South Carolina. Here we go. Let's get right.
Yeah.
Hey.
Right. 1-6 Arkansas came in here and beat us. Exactly. And then you mentioned football, just the fact that like little Beamer owns us right now. It just, oh my gosh, it's just so frustrating. But because we dominated, they dominated that series like for years, and then we dominated, and now what is it? I think 3 in a row now that they won, and it's just that's like the most football. That's just like the most frustrating thing.
I'll take a losing streak to Steve Spurrier, but that guy,
no,
with the sunglasses, that guy.
Yeah, I know. I know. And then of course, we got to go down there this year. So, we'll see what happens. But it's Kentucky's. Since we mentioned it, Kentucky's 2025 schedule is not going to be easy because they said because basically, as y'all know, the SEC said basically everybody y'all played this year, we're just going to flip it, and teams you played at home, you play on the road teams. So Kentucky played what three of the playoff teams, and then so
at Georgia, Texas at home, Tennessee at home, at South Carolina, at Auburn,
right, and they got Ole Miss. I mean, if you're a season ticket holder next year. Or you got a heck of a schedule with those games. Like I said, with Ole Miss coming in, Texas coming in. I think it's funny. One day I was talking with Mark Rogers, who I do stuff for, and it's amazing that Texas has been in the league 2 years, and they're going to play in Lexington before Texas A&M has. And Texas A&M, been in the league since 2012, and they still not come. They still not have come up here. I think we played down there like 5 or 6 years ago, but we still haven't. We still haven't had the Aggies up here yet.
So. Yeah, that's wow.
They're a bunch of weirdos down there at A&M with the cadets and a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah. I've seen the videos and all that stuff. Yeah, that's a little. It's a little out there for sure, but
and they're too weird for Texas. Like. None of the Texas schools mess with A&M, like Baylor and Rice and SMU. Like, yeah, y'all stay over there. Like, if Texas Tech won't even have nothing to do.
Right. Texas Tech, Houston, all those.
Yeah, A&M like, yeah, y'all stay on down there in Aggie land. Yeah, we good.
We're good. Yeah, I will say this: there's a lot of places I would love to see. I've been to Tennessee to see a game. I've been to Vandy Stadium. Been to a couple of places like Texas and Texas A&M. Of course, LSU. A night game at LSU would probably be like the biggest, one of the coolest things ever. But I would like to see a game at A&M someday, or even at Texas. But I don't think it's going to happen. I'll just probably watch it on my TV because I don't think I'll be doing maybe after the kids get into college and stuff, maybe do Rachel and I. Rachel and I could do some traveling or something. Exactly. But yeah, I like I said, they're weird, but I think the whole 12th man thing, be kind of neat to see. But one of the cool traditions, of course, you're there in Iowa, and you got the wave at the wave to the kids, which is like one of the coolest things ever. So.
Yeah, I got to experiencing that a couple years ago, and we were on the end closer to the hospital. Well, I knew you waved to the kids. I didn't realize they brought kids to the window to wave back.
Oh, okay.
And you see the kids, and I'm like, oh my! I mean, it is great. Everything stops. The officials, the other team, all the fans, and you get the kids on the scoreboard. They have a kid that chooses the song they play. It is pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't realize all that went into it either. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Did I see you last night that you were like, I'm not even going to bother cleaning the house?
Well, yeah. To be fair, my house is not like dirty or anything.
I was going to say, you got to have like the cleanest house.
I got to do something. And just watching the games with my dad forever years ago, he's like, well, if you're going to pace around, put a mop in your hand, right?
Right.
So I try to do something, but I'm sitting there at about 5 or 6 minutes into the game. I'm like, yeah, I don't think this has got anything to do with it. My wife looked at me. She's like, the vacuum, I'm good. It'll wait until next week. This ain't doing it, man.
I have to admit, I almost I don't remember what game it was. Might have been the A&M game. Like one of them was like really close. I was like, I actually thought about it. I was like, we were winning, but I was like, I'm like, Terry might be onto something here.
Because was it Tennessee? We were down 4, then we
maybe no, that's right. It was the end of the Tennessee game, and I was like, maybe
because we were down 4, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna clean this stove. I'm cleaning the oven.
Right.
And then we get up, and I'm like, oh well, I got to keep this going. I can't stop. Right. So, yeah.
Gotcha. It's talking about traditions now. I see you've created a tradition.
I'm trying to get sponsorship. You see that like, hey.
Yeah, and I'm sure Katie's like, yeah, just clean away, do whatever,
Yeah. She's like, don't worry about it. She's got the Kentucky schedule out. She's like, what can I ask you to do? I could, if it warms up, I could put a TV outside. He can get this landscaping done. So yeah, it's fun stuff.
That's great. Okay,
Speaking of Tennessee, Missouri's about to go into the half with the lead. It's 32-28 right now, about 30 seconds left, and that's another one that they didn't even win a conference game last year.
Yeah, they were awful, and they're really, 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 really good. Hey, I have to ask you something, if you don't mind, real quick. Okay, how did a couple weeks ago, Lee Steinberg? How did that happen? With the because I saw that and I didn't get to watch all of it, but I was like, wait, I'm like, dang, they done it again. It's like, getting these,
I reached out. I don't even remember how originally, but that was
because it was
8 years ago.
Yeah.
When
he first came on, Kevin. Yeah.
Oh, see, I'd forgotten that he had been on with you guys before. So
yeah. And when he first came on, he's the Jerry Maguire guy. So I'm asking Jerry Maguire questions, and he is legit telling us about Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, hey, you've got all this stuff. He's like, hey, this is right before Patrick Mahomes got drafted.
Okay.
Like, this guy's got it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's great. But back to Jerry Maguire. And then the universe said, oh, this is how you're going to operate as a 49ers fan. Now Patrick Mahomes has taken 2 Super Bowls away from us.
Right.
So the universe is funny like that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Now, as both NFC guys, are y'all rooting for Kansas City Sunday, or are you?
Absolutely for me. But like we said before you came on, Kansas City didn't snatch 2 Super Bowls from my team because my team hasn't been there in 30 years. So
I want to see them do it. Just three-peat. Okay, that's great. Something we haven't seen. But yeah, it's tough for me to say because Kansas City, again, they took 2 in dramatic fashion off my 49ers. So that's rough.
Yeah.
And you're up 10 with 6 minutes left and lose by 11. Like,
that was
bad. And then last year, giving up the touchdown with 10 seconds left in overtime. That's brutal, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't recommend. I don't recommend.
No. Well, as a long-suffering Bengals fan, we've lost two close ones to your 49ers. It's like it would be nice if the Bengals could get the Super Bowl again and not play a team from the NFC West, maybe.
Or the state of California, maybe.
Right. Yeah, two losses to the Niners and 1 to the Rams, and maybe we play somebody else.
Well, and with that, like what keeps it as an older 49ers fan, I remember those wins, right? And it's like I try to tell folks about Kentucky basketball. For every Cameron Mills shot, like we are the villain to a lot of people's stories.
Right.
Like, you have to keep that in mind. Like, yes, we got the Christian Laettner shot against us, but how do you think those other teams felt about Aaron Harrison, right? Like, like we have really ended a lot of teams' dreams. One of Kate's Twitter friends is a Utah fan. And we had a conversation, and he's our age, and he was like, you get to the point where it's like, I am tired of the University of Kentucky.
Yes.
Like, we have to keep in mind, like, we are other teams' villain stories. Like,
Right.
we have ended that. Like, we remember Brandon Knight, but Ohio State fans had to think, we got Aaron Kraft and Jared Sullinger.
Right,
we broke those dreams. Like, we've had our share of that.
Yeah, many years ago, for a while at LEX, we had this Winnebago. We called her Big Winnie, that we used as a production truck that we used to take to various places. And we went one year, I think Kentucky was playing in Cleveland. And we got to meet Rick Majerus and talk to him. The former, for those who may not remember, the former Utah coach, talking about, because they didn't meet that year, but they were, if Kentucky had won and Utah had won, they would have met like in the Sweet 16, I think it was. I can't remember who Kentucky lost to. But yeah, we were having that exact conversation. He's like, yeah, he's like, we just wait for the bracket to come up and see, there's Utah. Yep, there's Kentucky, And, as you said, we, think about all the seasons of theirs, their great seasons that we've ended, and then things like that. But that was one of the coolest things, getting to talk to him. He was such a nice guy. Like, every story you ever heard about him, it was, and I don't know if he's just being nice because we were Kentucky, from Kentucky or whatever, but he was, that's one thing, I always remember getting to when we interviewed him, and how nice he was and how funny he was. And as you said, talking about, hopefully you guys don't end our season this year, kind of thing. So.
Like, we've been the villain, guys. Like, we should understand that dream seasons. Wichita State's undefeated season. Like, we've kind of, if you look at the ledger, we've got some heartbreak. That's true. But we have dealt out a lot of heartbeat as well.
So, absolutely.
The universe kind of seeks balance like that sometimes.
Yeah, I think we're due. So.
Now that being said, all right.
We've had a really bad run of luck the last few years. I'm ready for
Missed this comment. Just going back to Cal from West.
Jinxed ourselves.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
We put bad juju out there. And I knew it was going to happen, because I'm like, we need to play this game to win. Why are we debating about the boo or not boo? Like, that is losing the plot on just go support your team. That was my 2 cents. Actually, I think I might have given about 10 or 15 cents at this point, Vinny, but it's cat's fault.
Nickel.
That's right.
So, flipping to football, we're all, I think, for the most part, consumed by basketball right now, though, Kevin. But what are your thoughts on this roster, all the turnover? What kind of team are we going to have? And we won't really know until they play. But I mean, just your thoughts on the way things are kind of coming together.
Yeah, I think it's probably an understatement to say this is obviously a huge year for Stoops. We had the bowl streak, but then last year was just, I guess we peaked with the Ole Miss game, and then just went downhill from there. But like I said, what we talked about a few minutes ago, Kentucky, we didn't know it at the time, but Kentucky had like a ridiculous, ended up with a ridiculous SEC schedule, because we didn't think some of these teams are going to be as good. And I honestly, should have beat Auburn for sure. And maybe a couple others in there, but I don't know. I mean, I think it's interesting. I'm working on, like, tying it back to last word. I'm kind of, now that we're done with the portal, working on a kind of a depth chart, like going position by position. So I've done the quarterback so far. I'm working on the running backs right now. I think Zach Calzada is an interesting, an interesting choice. The station I work for, we produce the BBN Tonight Show, which airs every weeknight on WLEX. We had him on for an interview. He seems really excited and really, really wanting to be here and really wanting to prove himself, I think. and he had some great great times at Texas A&M when he could stay healthy, and excuse me, and then he did great things at the FCS level with the Incarnate Word last year. It's, of course, some people may remember that's a school that also Cam Ward played at. And then, of course, behind him, you got Cutter Bowley, and then after that, there's two freshmen that who are freshmen. I mean, I think Stone Saunders can be a star here. It's just going to take some time. Obviously, the running backs, I think, are pretty set. The wide receiver obviously is the biggest one because losing Key, losing Brown, losing a lot of those guys. But like Macklin coming back, and some of these guys that they brought in through the portal, and then some of these younger guys will have to step up. But I think I think like it does a lot of times, it's going to come down to the offensive line. Yeah. And the Cats, if you look at their transfer portal, they hit the transfer portal hard. And something I think it's interesting, if you look at the people they brought in, they hit like that group of 5 schools really hard, and not necessarily the Power 4, but you're looking at like the best player from New Mexico State, the best lineman from places like that, where I think it's an interesting tactic they're trying to, and let's hope that it works, because 2021 Kentucky's offensive line was the finalist for the Joe Moore Award for the best offensive line in college football, and since then you had Levis and you had Leary, and then you had Vandegrift or Wimsat. Basically, they're all running for their lives.
Right. Oh yeah.
And then on the other side of the ball, the defensive line, I think secondary, I think maybe one of the best secondary, even losing Hairston and those guys. I still think the secondary might be one of the best units on the team. Linebacker, I think the guy they brought in from Marshall, his name escapes me right now. But there's a couple of really good guys they brought in. But again, they're like that group of 5 schools. But then I think it goes, the defensive line, like pretty much almost the entire defensive line is gone. That played a lot from last year, of course, led by Deion Walker, who's going to be probably maybe second round draft pick, because he apparently showed out really, really well. He and Hairston both at the Senior Bowl. So it's kind of the cliche, but I think a lot of success this season be determined on the offensive and defensive lines. If they can keep people away from Calzada and get some pressure on the opposing quarterbacks, I think they could surprise some people. I don't know. That schedule is just so, insanely, you look at it and you're like, okay, where are the wins? Even somebody like Toledo that you would think should be an easy win, they were great last year. And of course, now they have, Chip Trainum, that's where he transferred to. Yeah. And then you look at the schedule. Oh, look, first game of the season. Who's Kentucky play? Toledo,
Can't make this stuff up, man.
No. And as you said earlier, you got to go to Auburn, got to go South Carolina, you got, go Tennessee. And then you have,
got to go to Vanderbilt.
You got to go to Vanderbilt. But, we actually seem to play better at Vanderbilt than we do than we do here when Vandy plays. But yeah, it's like I said, I think they can be better. It's just a matter like the SEC schedule, especially. I just don't know. Like I said, you look at it and you're like, okay, what games are they going to win? So, I would like to say they could at least go 6-6, but we'll see. Maybe fortune will shine on us this year, and we'll get some of those breaks that we haven't been getting the last couple of years. But that's just kind of a general. As I'm looking at the team, right now, that's kind of what I'm looking at as far as the 2025 team goes.
Is Vanderbilt working on? Have they got us 2 out of the last 3? Was it they've won the past 2 in Lexington, and we've won?
Yeah, they won the last 2, and then the year in between was the year I think that Hairston had the had the interception returns, and
the two pick sixes, right?
We beat them pretty easily there. Like I said, we seem to play better down there than we do up here against them. So I don't know, but and I know their quarterback's coming back for a seventh year, so I would like to would like to get a win over him, but.
Their stadium might actually be completed when we go down there this time. So I mean, there's that.
I know y'all have seen those guys coming back, for year 8 and year 7 for football. I believe in empowering athletes. I think that's too much.
Right.
My thing is, if you're 30, that sounds miserable to be with a bunch of 19-year-olds. That's my whole takeaway from like LeBron being 40. Like he's playing with his kid. Like that doesn't seem fun to me. No. Like, does that seem fun to y'all? Like, I got my kid at work with me. That doesn't seem fun to me.
Yeah, right? No, I don't know. Like if Ryan, if I was like a pro player and Ryan was like, on the same team, I would probably like, I would just think, man, I'm really old. Anyway.
Yeah, like I don't want to do this. That one of my favorite Tom Brady quotes was when he was with the, I think maybe his last year with Tampa Bay, and he missed some of camp. And they're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm 45. I got shit to do." Like I just I don't want to be around. They listen to different music. They got different stuff. That just
man. Absolutely, yeah.
Go get your CDL and do something. Like it's time to do something other than sports. Go pro and something else. Like a 6 or 7 year pro. Like that just sounds miserable.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, and the same. I think it's the same thing that what's his name, Pavia. The same rule that got him eligible to play for another year. I think is how Calzada is getting to play for a 7th year. I think I read that somewhere where he's taking advantage of that. Advantage of that rule. So, like I said, hopefully he can come in and be, and be the guy that he was, at the FCS level. It's interesting because, after the Louisville game, the staff said they have all the faith in the world in Carter Bowie, and I'm sure they do, but, he's going to be our guy. And then, but, I don't think you bring in Calzada to sit him on. But we'll see. Spring, we're already in February. Spring football's crazy to think, not that far away. So we'll get a better look at the Cats, I guess, when we hit March and April. So, but like I said, I want to think they're going to be better this year, but it may not necessarily reflect, in the final record. So
yeah.
Can't have this show conclude without talking about the women's team too. Kenny Brooks and the win at Oklahoma, ranked team on the road. Beat Alabama at home, another ranked team before that.
Right.
I was able to pop up there to historic Memorial Coliseum, which is just spectacular. All the renovations, it looks great, just amazing. And the product on the court, I mean, George Amore, Johnny Key, all the new players Coach Brooks has brought in. Still not a lot of depth, and they're still just continuing to find ways. Just imagine those 2 girls that got hurt. If you put them in this mix, but just doing an amazing job with, Claire Strack, Claire Silva, just amazing. Still got some tough teams coming up, but look, you're 19-2, and you're rolling right along. Hey, this is fun, man. This is a lot of fun.
Absolutely, I would love nothing more to. I haven't made it over to. I think we have to call it historic Memorial Coliseums. I think that's like the title now. I mean, would love to get there for one of these games. Just haven't made it yet, but. We're talking about schedules. I think UK's women, the last 3 games are LSU, Tennessee, and South Carolina.
Yes.
So, basically they saved like 3 of the toughest. I mean, obviously Tennessee, I think Tennessee's better than what they've been the last couple of years, but I think, Kentucky.
That SEC done jumped up and hit the Lady Vols a little bit.
Yes.
Conference record is. They ain't 8-1 like us. I'm just saying.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
3-5 in conference or something.
Yeah, like I said, and Georgia Amore is just, unbelievable how good I mean, I kind of remember them a little bit from Virginia Tech, but not, not that much. But like I said, her and Strack, and you said some of the others as they brought in, and to your point, they had those injuries, but they've been able to, work through it. But of course, like I said, you have George Amore on your team, you're going to win. You're going to win a lot of games. And like I said, and they've how well they've gelled, and it's been really, really amazing to see. And like Kenny Brooks is, just a heck of a coach. That's that's about, what one thing you could say. He's just, a heck of a coach. And Mitch definitely got that one right on bringing him in. And I'm very excited to see what they hopefully they'll stay up where they are and maybe get to host a couple games in the NCAA tournament. And I said, I haven't been there for like a sporting event, but I've been in Memorial, and it is what it looks like now is just, as you said, it's just absolutely amazing.
It's unbelievable. We
compared,
went for,
since we were talking about us being old, my youngest is looking to go to UK, so she's all in and everything like that.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to her. I said, all of a sudden, it's historic Memorial Coliseum. I said, it wasn't like that when I was in school. And she said, that's because it was brand new. And I said, you know how kids,
Oh, I know. Yeah.
You know how kids humble you where it's like, no, okay. If you wasn't my kid, I would knock you down right now.
Yeah. See, my son Brian, he's a senior. He's Lafayette, and my daughter Mary Beth's a freshman. But so he's trying to figure out this whole college thing, and he's interested in UK. He really seems like he wants to go out of state. I think he could go to UK. Center has been really interested in him, but I think if he ends up going anywhere out of state, it's probably going to be Davidson. So, because his mom went there, so Rachel went there. So he really likes Davidson. He's got 4 or 5 other schools, but we're trying to steer him. You get all this. You went to Governor Scholars and all this stuff. You get this money if you go to, if you go to in-state school.
I want you to live your dreams.
Right.
However, I'm checking this checkbook. And so we got to have discuss. So I get it now. I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, where's your daughter, the oldest?
She's at Aurora University, which is about 40 minutes outside of Chicago.
That's right.
And
yeah,
she is playing lacrosse.
Right.
And very excited about that. I shared. She did a little welcome video. I shared and everything. So her season starts in a couple of weeks. They got some scrimmages, and then they start playing. But Kevin, I don't know if you've ever been to the upper Midwest, but spring takes a long time to get here. And I love my daughter dearly, but I don't know if I love her enough to be sitting out there in the cold with that wind coming off Lake Michigan.
Yeah,
we will see. But no, she's excited, and the college thing is fun. We had to do that, and what she's looking for academically and everything else, and having to meet with a coach. The good thing is she gets some NIL, so I can give her some money.
Oh yeah, that's great right there. I said there's one school up in Ohio. It's Kenyon, I think's the name of it. That runs. It's somewhere north of Columbus. That's the only school that's like north. Everywhere else he's looking is south. Like firm. A couple schools in South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia. So it's not.
I told my daughter, I said, look, you need to get a winter coat. And you know how kids are. I'll be fine.
Right. Oh yeah.
You need to get a winter coat because she's like, I got one. No. We don't sell winter coats in Kentucky like you need in Chicago. Like we don't have that. We don't have that. You need all that. Now she's got the fleece line leggings. She got okay. See, the old man knows.
Right.
A little bit.
Absolutely. So,
I'm like, I'm living it. Right. Yeah. I'm out here in the plains living it.
Yeah. No, like I said, we'll see. We'll see where he ends up. Like I said, we're trying to, not obviously we're gonna let him do what he wants, but like I said, these places, want these, you get this money, if you go here and go there. So, but he gets, I'm sure you're all the same way. Like he gets these letters college that I didn't even know existed.
Yes.
It's like where? So we're like looking at where is this place or where kind of thing. So
I remember that way back in when they had to send everything by Pony Express when I was looking at schools.
Like I said, that's been one of the more fun things, like just all the different colleges. Now he has gotten a couple. Sorry, he's not interested in Iowa, but he has gotten a couple of things from Iowa. But it's kind of fun to look at. But
come on out here, it's fine.
Yeah. once you get through the winter, right?
Oh yeah, knock wood, it hasn't been too bad, but I think we had an ice storm today. But last year was brutal, Kevin. Last year we had about 3 foot of snow, and it was -40 wind chill, and it was as cold as I've ever been in my life. And I was like, "What am I doing?"
Well,
I'm here for love.
I think it's been worse here, in Kentucky. Because I know I saw some graphic, Bill Meck had that, that we've gotten like Anchorage, Alaska had gotten like 4 inches of snow, and we've gotten like 16. And what, and now they're talking about possibly more next week. I'm like, no, I'm ready for spring now.
Yeah. My mom always lets me know. She's like, it's colder here than there. I'm like, my bad.
Yeah, because we, I popped up. We went to Niagara Falls, in Canada for a spring. Our trip, like family trip this summer, and it's still like on my Weather Channel, thing. It's got like Lexington and Niagara Falls and like Williamsburg, because William and Mary is one of the other places that Ryan's looking at. And like there was about a 3-week stretch there where it was colder here than it was in Niagara Falls. It's like, what? How's that even happen?
It's brutal.
So
Missouri up 10 on Tennessee right now. So
we got to wrap this up so we can watch the Vols lose, because I love hating from outside the club.
Absolutely.
And then do you guys get Vol fans jumping in? Because like Tennessee fans just seem to jump in like randomly on everything that not even a part. Because I saw like more trash talk from Tennessee people after the Arkansas loss, and I'm like, we beat you guys. We're like, you all like the one game that we won.
Every now and then, one of my tweets will get traction in Vol Nation. Because they don't like it, because y'all know I got that Jeopardy meme, this team has never volunteered, this SEC team's never volunteered for the Final Four. And then they pop up and it's like, well, we won the College World Series. That's cool, you're right, we've not done that, but that's not what the discussion is.
Right.
We beat you 40 straight years in football. Again, not the discussion that we're having right now.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's why I always they always come at me for my Thanksgiving tweet when it comes to Tennessee. We've had more Tennessee victories over Tennessee than Thanksgivings. They don't like that either.
Yeah.
But it's true.
It is true, yeah. Because we played, 250 times or something, something crazy. So
so 162 wins, 161 Thanksgivings.
Yeah, because I remember seeing just along that road, I know you guys got to go, we got to go, but like there was when President Carter died, there was something I saw like Jimmy Carter saw this many world wars, this blah 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 blah, but he never saw Tennessee make the Final Four.
That's right. That's right. And Drake University here in Des Moines has been to a men's Final Four in 1969, and Tennessee has not. So
which I still think. I mean, giving the devil their due, I still think it's crazy that of all those good teams that they've had with Ernie and Bernie and Chris Lofton and that they've never. It just shows you how luck kind of plays into a lot of it. So it's kind of crazy they never made a Final Four, but yet here we are. So maybe this will be their year. I kind of hope not, because I like being able to hold that over.
That's right. I don't want that to go away. I want that meme to still be relevant years from now.
Absolutely, absolutely.
They're trying to fight back, so we'll hop off here and root for them. Okay. Appreciate you, Kev, so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for having me on, man. It's always great to talk to you, and just I love watching you guys. All the success with the show and everything, man. I try to watch.
And I see your shirt, so we're going to give a shout out to the College World Series.
Yeah. Yeah,
baseball and softball.
Tennessee won, whatever, but That was one. Kentucky's one of the teams that never made the College World Series from the SEC, so we took care of that. But seriously, like I said, man, thank you all again. Like I said, anytime you want to, give me a holler. I'm always glad to talk to you. Like I said, man, I'm thrilled to death for all the success you guys have with the show. It's always a lot of fun to watch. To watch. So thank you again for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Kevin. We'll see you on those streets.
Absolutely.
All right.
Take it easy, Kevin.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, man. Talk to you later.
All right, Kevin.
Bye.
Kevin McGuffey, WLEX, friend of the show. Appreciate him.
Yeah, well, we covered everything, didn't we?
I think we did.
Talked about the cats. Talked about the lady cats. Or I don't think they say lady cats anymore. That's a dated thing. It's the Kentucky women's basketball team. So let me be in historic Memorial Coliseum.
Right.
Historic.
It looks great. They still got the ceiling fans in there, and everything is just fresh and new and popping. Still got the old school humongous fans.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was a nice touch. I was hoping that they would keep them. I'm like, surely they didn't take the fans out with all this $80 million. That's just too old school and too iconic.
Yeah.
And you walk in and there they are. I'm like, cool. And it just looks really good in there, man. They did a great job with it, and team is doing well, and just a fun, quick up and back trip. But glad they're able to get up there and catch them, because it'd been a little minute since I've been to Memorial. My Katie and I went. I don't even know if Micah might have been little. We watched them play South Carolina. This was pre-Staley. They won, but it'd been a minute. It was still just no air conditioned Memorial Coliseum, no renovation.
We went a lot because I took the girls. We did a lot of gymnastics and volleyball in there. So we were in more, not a lot, but we've been there enough and everything. So it looks nice on TV. Hopefully I'll go, but yeah, just remember it wasn't historic when I was there because it was brand new.
No, exactly. Yeah. So, but that said, we still ain't that old, but
that's right.
In the ways we are, but oh well, it is what it is. But fun show, man. Y'all stay safe, stay warm again if it gets cold.
Yeah, you do the same. We'll see you on the Mean Street.
The girls, hello, and be back next week talking about all of it. We'll have Super Bowl champion to talk about. NFL season's over and all that kind of stuff. Baseball, softball kicking off, and just come back and do what we do. And got some more big guests lined up. Can't say just yet, but we was ran into some folks in Lexington, and I was telling you about it. So they'll be coming on. Might be after the season, but we'll get that worked out. And but we'll hop on over here for now. TV, man, y'all. Appreciate you. Absolutely. So for Terry and Vinny, thanks again to Kevin McGuffey. Another episode of Cast Talk Wednesday on the BS3 Network. Get y'all next week.